And we're live. Yeah, we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And welcome to my live stream. We are back. But I do remember doing at least 2 hours of live stream last time. I just don't remember whether it was yesterday or the other day. But it doesn't matter, we are back live. And you can see on the graphics or thumbnail, it says that LGBTQ plus can have games for them too. Which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, you heard me right. The LGBTQ plus community or gamers can have their games too. They can have their own games or games made just for them. That is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. Of course, we don't have to buy and play them. Obviously, because those games are not for me. And my guess is those games are also not for a lot of other gamers. But it's perfectly fine. Have games just for them. And good luck. Okay? Good luck. And I wish that those games and those game studios will find success. There's absolutely nothing wrong with making games for the LGBTQ plus gamers. There you go. That is my opinion on that thing. No problem at all. Again, I don't have to play it though. The problem comes, here's where the problem comes in. The problem comes in when they are trying to hide it. Because if they hide it, they hid the fact that it's not for the general gaming audience. It's not for you and me. What happens is, of course, I find the game for the franchise exciting, and I buy the game only to find out that it's an LGBTQ plus game. Why are they talking about sexuality all the time? Why are they focusing on what's the story? So eventually, the general gaming audience will find out that it's not a game made for them, and there will be backlash. That is where the problem comes in. But the good thing is, with the latest LGBTQ plus game that came out recently, which is Dragon Age the Veilguard, it's a good thing that Steam tagged or labeled the game properly. So if you went to the game Steam page, it's properly tagged and labeled as an LGBTQ plus game. You saw it and you still bought it. You played it, and then after playing it, you complain that it's woke or it's for the LGBTQ plus community or for the modern audience. Then it's no longer the game's problem. You are the problem because it is properly tagged and labeled in Steam. There is no reason for you to complain. It's like the game or the video or a website. You went to a website and it says there that it's an adult website, and you still entered the website. You cannot complain later that it's an adult website, because usually adult websites will have an age verification asking you whether you are 18 or not. And if you said you're 18, and which means, and you entered, you click on that, you answered that you are 18 years old, and then you enter the website, you are basically saying to them that you know that it's an adult website. So you can complain later that, what? It's an adult website. No. That's not how things work. Which is good for Dragon Age the Veilguard, because the other LGBTQ plus games like the latest Star Wars game and the Concord game and the Dustborn game, they were not, as far as I know, they were not labeled as LGBTQ plus games. So there was backlash, but hopefully that is not going to happen with the Dragon Age Veilguard, the Veilguard game, because it's properly labeled and tagged in Steam. It's an LGBTQ plus game. It's not a game for you if you're not an LGBTQ plus person or you're not a member of that community. It's not a game for you. You might not enjoy playing the game. But I'm not saying that a non-LGBTQ plus person cannot play the game. Of course, you can still play the game. It's just that complaining afterwards that it's an LGBTQ plus game is kind of absurd, knowing that it's properly labeled. Okay, let's go and check out more Dragon Age the Veilguard, I guess, content. Let's see what's happening in my favorite space in the internet, and that is the gaming space. Let's see if gamers are still complaining about this particular LGBTQ plus game. Again, it's Dragon Age the Veilguard. You know it's woke, you know it's for the LGBTQ plus community, it's for the modern audience. You have no reason at all, zero reason at all to complain that it is. You don't have to buy it, you don't have to play it. There are hundreds, even thousands of other games out there. In fact, maybe you haven't played the older Dragon Age games. Maybe try playing that. I tried installing it. I looked in my Steam library and I have Dragon Age and Dragon Age Origin and the Dragon Age Origin Ultimate Edition. Who knows, I might give it a try. I'm just not a fan of turn-based combat games. Maybe back in the 90s, maybe. Back in the 90s, because, or even the 80s, because role-playing games back in the 80s are all turn-based, from Mystic Quest, Final Fantasy, Lufia, Breath of Fire, the Seventh Saga, even the Super Robot series, which is it's not, I wouldn't call it an RPG. It has RPG element, but it's more like a tactical strategy game. They all have turn-based combat systems, and I enjoyed playing them. But it's 2024, and I haven't really played much turn-based combat games. The games I play now is they're basically what do you call them? I do enjoy playing games with building elements to it. I like the slow pace of games like Skyrim, which is more focused on the story, because combat in Skyrim it's not very good. It's not very good. I can, as much as I like, it's my favorite role-playing game. I will not get mad at anyone who say that Skyrim has terrible combat, because it is. It is absolutely true. Well, maybe not terrible, but it's not very good. You need to overhaul it. You need to install mods that will overhaul the combat system if you want to focus on or enjoy combat in Skyrim. Also, before we continue, the music playing in the background is Welcome to the Show by Kevin MacLeod. It's licensed under Creative Commons 4.0 and you can download it for free at incompetech.com. Okay, so I'm going to check this one. This one is like 3 days ago, but the title is very interesting. Dragon Age the Veilguard tried to fool everyone, and this is from this video by Legendary Drops. Going to check it out. Let's see what this is all about. How did Dragon Age the Veilguard try fooling everyone? I want to know how and why.
I'm shocked. Genuinely. I can't believe it. Look, I do not care about any of the social political commentary that is surrounding Dragon Age the Veilguard right now, because all I think it does is distract from what we should be talking about. This is a customer first issue, and that is the most important thing. This is a publisher that knew that their game was divisive, that knew that this was a defining moment for a studio in recovery, and they made the wrong choice. You give review codes to all established reviewers or none. Simple as that. The minute that you start getting picky choosy with who you give those codes to, the minute that you start leaving room for doubt, is the minute that you have violated our trust, ruined the integrity of your game and of your brand. Not that there's really that much left for EA or BioWare anyway, but you do not deserve our money. You are not entitled to it. You have to earn it. And that's not what this is. The minute that you start going out and trying to shape and lead the conversation around a game in a certain direction is the minute.
Back in the day, maybe the 90s or even the 2000s,
and that's exactly
the 80s,
today what I want
things like this, favoritism or access journalism is frowned upon. Well, it is still frowned upon, but
this is something to pay attention.
They don't care anymore because they hate you. Again, guys, you don't have to give them your money. You don't have to give them your money.
Some of the first to step forward. These are established creators with long-standing careers. They wouldn't step forward and say something if it wasn't for a good reason, and I want to talk about that. I want to shed light on the history and the motivations behind EA and BioWare for why they would want to limit access to this game. BioWare established itself as a leader in this genre through its commitment to some of the best storytelling that's out there and true choice and consequence. The impact of their earlier titles...
The problem with these game publishers and game developers is that they think,
even with the successes that
they have this weird idea that
many purists
the gaming audience has changed
to the originals. With the introduction,
they think that
series, BioWare
you as a gamer is a member of the LGBTQ community.
Rich character interactions.
I don't know where they got this idea,
making for
but
the greatest games of all time.
It's really weird.
BioWare games
really weird.
They were a means of exploring complex themes that were rarely explored.
I'm not saying there are no LGBTQ plus gamers out there, because there are. It's just that
are titles that not only carry a lot of recognition,
they're not the majority of the gaming audience. They are
some of their favorite memories, characters, and moments.
not the majority.
And in many ways, these were the games that introduced them.
And if you're making a game and you want to make the game successful,
Began to shift significantly.
you
Successful releases
make a game
in Dragon Age Inquisition
for the majority of your gaming audience.
loved Bio.
I'm not saying that you can't make a game for the LGBTQ plus community, because you can,
and critics started to notice a
and but
titles began to
expecting the non-LGBTQ
chasing
plus
wins in multiplayer, Mass Effect
you know,
3, and losing
part of the gaming audience to play
earlier works. This shift in focus
LGBTQ plus games
evident with the release of Mass Effect
is absurd.
17.
It's ridiculous. You can't expect them to play a game made,
Just a complete let
marketed
the technical issues, the
for a specific group of people.
of what made the series so popular to begin with. It just felt like a cheap, directionless knockoff. Critics at the time had pointed out that the game just felt like it was rushed.
Again, I'm not saying game developers and game publishers can make games for them,
Sentiment that was later
but they should not expect
of Anthem.
massive income from it. That's why they should scale down
We could really even get
their costs. So, for example, you're making a Call of Duty. Oh, well, I guess you can make a Call of Duty game for the LGBTQ plus community,
it was called
and all Call of Duty players will play it.
and the game was effectively
Seriously,
abandoned and
Call of Duty players
so the studio was lost releases with the departure
or
of
fans,
founders in 2012.
it'll only take them
Company EA, which
for them to play your game. You'll just have to call it a Call of Duty game, and that's it.
service models, the studio's identity seemed to erode.
That's it.
Former EA CEO Andrew Wilson
Even if you label the game as woke,
live service
or you are specifically marketing it for a certain group of people,
as they
they will still play it as long as it has
purpose that it once fueled
the Call of Duty name
diminished.
on it. There you go. There are a few games like that where
Lose
you'll
or
still get massive sales,
losing faith in the studio.
whether it's targeted to whether it's targeted for everyone, or whether it's made for everyone, or it's just made for a small group of people.
The mistakes that they've made in the
Call
past
of Duty.
brand that means a lot to a lot of people.
There you go.
The industry itself.
There you go.
The groundwork, the frank
Imagine if,
RPGs that we
I
love.
guess that is what they should do. You know, the LGBTQ plus game developers,
Dragon Age, these are
if they want to
known around the world.
indoctrinate a lot of gamers,
Their greatest games
yeah.
of all time. I remember
that is one of the titles that they can go after.
the first time. I had just come hot off
The Call of Duty players
it was some of
don't
the
care.
years in game.
They don't care. They see Call of Duty on the title, they play it.
Out onto the screen. The game was gorgeous. The storytelling was something like I'd never even seen before. I could interact with companions.
Sure, they will complain,
The RPG
maybe
mechanics, the loot, everything.
a few of them,
It was
but they'll still play it.
but time
There you go, guys. I'm giving you a lot of ideas here.
are gone, and
Those are the games that you can
changes, and that's just kind of the way.
use to indoctrinate people to your beliefs.
And I think that's
Call of Duty, even Fortnite. I don't think Fortnite players will
a
care.
lot of those people left. But with that said, Dragon Age the Veilguard, from EA's perspective, this was their time. This is their defining moment to bring back and resurrect this studio and put them back into the public spotlight.
With the problem with targeting or using high fantasy games,
These are the biggest IPs that
Nah.
EA has outside of sports.
because fans of high fantasy games,
Literally actually
high fantasy role-playing games, they care more about the story,
deal.
how you build the world, how the character develops.
Audience to buy it. And that's where the problem starts. Because you already have an audience that doesn't have a lot of faith in your game, and then you come out with some
High
trailers.
fantasy role-playing games are very different from
Their last few releases
games like Call of
exceeded
Duty.
expectations of the fans. A fan
A game like Call of Duty,
chase live service
you
style.
can have one with no story at all, and
BioWare already
Call of Duty players will still play it.
this company. Well, players were definitely excited when they saw that there was a game coming that was called Dragon Age Dreadwolf. The consensus was less about excitement and more about hoping that the game was going to be good and that the studio was going to be returning to its roots. You go back and scope out the comment section on the game's first trailer on
What are you saying? Didn't you see
to see where
the praise they were using? A return to form. They did.
trailer that set
They did. Because they said it.
Imagined.
It was a return to form.
Huge announcement. The game is no longer called Dragon Age Dreadwolf. It is now the Veilguard, a title focusing less on the story of the antagonist and more on the party that's trying to stop him. A very superhero-sounding name, similar to the Avengers, which, lo and behold, seemed to embody the early teens energy of the trailer that followed. The trailer depicted none of the grit, consequence, or maturity that the series is known for. Instead, it felt more like an intro for a Disney movie with character art that was reminiscent of Pixar movies. It was upbeat, jovial, and embodied nothing that the fans of the franchise have come to expect from Dragon Age, and the trailer on YouTube was subsequently ratioed into oblivion. Top comments like, I didn't know Disney bought BioWare. Who bait and switched my gory, mature, dark fantasy RPG for Guardians of the Galaxy meets Clash of Clans? And my personal favorite, the most shocking thing is that BioWare let the comments open. On Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, fans and critics panned the art style for its attempt to Fortnite Dragon Age. They felt like the entire essence of the series was lost, and skepticism around the game soared. Then I got curious, and I went back to see what games media's reaction to the fan backlash over the trailer was, and crickets. Nothing but completely ignoring the discourse from fans on social media, instead showing nothing but excitement, positivity, and zero skepticism. The closest thing that I could find was an article written about how players
As you can see,
the game's theme song
using high fantasy role-playing games to push your message, it's not gonna work because fans of games like this care more about the story,
showing that they had cast
the
aside
world itself, the characters.
moving away from the tactical elements that the game had in lieu of
Now, again, back to Call of Duty, you can make all the characters in Call of Duty a color in the rainbow, and
your hands full
now the players won't care.
completely generic
Yeah, you can have a drag queen
to distract
in Call of Duty or even Fortnite. You can have those and no one will care.
no mention of it was from the media, only excitement and positivity. Ever since this game's
In fact, you might even see Nick Merckx
that I've seen regarding the
cosplay as a drag queen while playing Call of Duty,
social politics more than anything else,
or even Dr. Disrespect.
or BioWare took to
You
some
might see him cosplaying as a drag queen while playing Call of Duty.
weren't hot enough. He just called the critics
They
in,
just don't care.
responding to others,
You put Call of Duty in the title and they will play it.
only eventually for him to give way and say that he felt conflicted on the game and that the art style leaves him feeling cold. I'll be straight with you. He is absolutely right. Dragon Age has always had progressive elements. Dragon Age Origins had same-sex relationships before gay marriage was even legal. With that said, I can't help but feel that these sort of discussions and criticisms are the low-hanging fruit opportunities to move away from critical discourse. At this point, obviously negative reception surrounding this game's cartoonish art style, its abandoning of socially mature themes, or its identity shift into action combat has been seen.
Well, after seeing that it is an LGBTQ plus game, I'm not surprised actually.
It is
Maybe before I never played a Dragon Age game before, so
which I find altogether off-putting. Ever since this game's announcement, it just feels like there's been a concerted effort
there's a reason why the LGBTQ plus community uses the rainbow
far too much
as their
over the past few
official colors.
leading to
It's bright,
communication.
it's fun.
It is
So if a game like Dragon Age: The Veilguard is labeled as an LGBTQ plus game, guess what? You'd expect like things like that: bright,
because of
fun, jovial, lighthearted.
more than anything else, identity politics and things like that. So what ends up happening is you have these two sides that are diametrically opposed. They cannot agree on anything. Their ideologies do not align, and as such, they cannot cede ground to the other party. As a result of that, they can't let the other party have a win. So they can't even talk about the things that otherwise they would.
Again, when you're making a game, you
Slightly
yeah, there are various groups
future
of gamers.
that situation
Okay.
whatsoever. And
You must choose.
wanting to talk about art
You
style,
must choose whether to target
the gameplay, or
the majority of the gamers or the small part of
the writers and journalists,
gamers.
true allies are the people that are making the game.
If you want a game to be successful.
Anymore. And I get where they're coming from, by the way. I see things that annoy the shit out of me too, man. I see the posts on social media, people putting up a picture of Bunny with, the like thigh highs or the fishnets on, ass is hanging out, cleavage rolling out, all that good stuff. Yeah. And then saying this is what players want, and then putting it next to like some stylized art of another character that makes no sense why you're even comparing these two things. Yeah, it's easy. It's low-hanging fruit, allowing developers and publishers and journalists to be able to say, well, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to listen to these people and what they have to say because it's low-hanging fruit. It's an excuse for them to not have to engage. And I think with a lot of the commentary that we've seen over the last couple of years, well, it's getting easier for them day by day to be able to not engage whatsoever with what players are saying or players are thinking. And in some cases, they're not wrong to do so because, I mean, let's be real. Do we really think every single video game character needs to look like Bunny from the first Descendant? No, absolutely not. That's definitely not the case. And while there are people that are out there that'll post that stuff on social media and it gets, hundreds of thousands of likes because it's social media, well, it detracts from the overall conversation. I don't like that it's out there sometimes because what ends up happening is they're just using it as an excuse to not have to engage with us. But what they fail to realize, journalists specifically,
they're not journalists. Come on, stop calling them journalists. That is the problem when you have like a very low, or when no one watches your content.
The closer you get to them and the further away you get from
you can't get through. You can't get your message through, and
back in September,
it's so infuriating sometimes. They keep calling them journalists when they're not journalists.
Feeling positive while others were
They don't
level of skepticism.
They don't
Some players
follow the ethics of journalism. You can't call someone a journalist
the overall tone, look, and feel of the game, while at the exact same time,
if they don't adhere or follow the ethics.
will be exponentially more.
They are basically writers. Just call them writers.
Bar has been raised.
Because anyone
Nearing the release of the game, and Wolf
can be a writer. Even ChatGPT
not receive
can be a writer. An AI can be a writer.
3 creators, including myself, were a bit more critical than others with our hands-on time with Dragon Age the Veilguard. Not a single one of us will be getting review codes in time to actually give our opinions before release.
It's not a loss, Wolfheart FPS. It's not a loss.
My more critical
You're not the one losing in this case. They are the ones losing.
pointing out how marketing works. This
Because now you can trash them and
granted access for primarily creators who had previously expressed some
and they lose more
about Dragon Age, which raises some pretty serious concerns.
they'll lose more sales even if it's just one or two.
With high-profile
That is one or two more
selective access led players to making purchasing decisions
lost sale
pretenses.
or sales.
Posts went up, reviews began to flood in for the Veilguard, major media outlets lauding it as a return to form for BioWare, saying that it could stand next to Baldur's Gate 3.
Look at that. Everyone has a return to form.
Game of the year.
Oh my goodness.
All of this
That is so obvious that they were instructed to add that. It's a key praise. That is a key praise.
skill up
They're trying to target the key praise a return to form.
reviews posted a review for the Veilguard that damn near
For SEO or even marketing.
Dragon Age would be.
It is so absurd.
Skill Up is one of my first inspirations. I have a ton of respect for them.
Number one, it doesn't feel natural.
Even if you don't agree with his opinions, you can still at least see
Are you saying 100 writers
stay pretty clean of any social commentary.
had the same thought of putting in a return to form in their
Painted a
in what they were writing?
complications, highlighting this game's inability to facilitate any
Come on.
or genuine interactions with party members. He noted that conversations felt more akin to parent-child dialogue than engaging conversations, making it feel as though HR was in the room with the writing team. He commented further on how the combat lacked any real depth, the art direction and character design took away from the game's overall themes, and altogether, the game felt like a generic offering, a far cry from what the series once stood for, and also a far cry from many of the reviews that we've seen from major publications. When players took notice of this, immediately we saw pushback from media outlets and talking heads on Twitter. Critics that were quick to dismiss any concerns about access journalism, instead framing it as unfounded conspiracy theories and a spawn of identity politics. Even when I tried to make any attempt to engage in balanced discussion, I had made a post just specifically talking about curated review scores, nothing about diversity or identity. I was immediately met with accusations of bigotry and racism. Put ideological differences aside for just a few minutes. Clear your mind. You can look and see that there is...
Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. When games like this gets released, just don't engage with it.
Up until
Don't buy it. Just,
players were critical of it in its previews.
stay quiet.
It's never been positive. The studio itself, the company needs the game to do well. Reviewers then
Because in a way, you're still helping it
critical of the game, and what we have seen
gain grounds,
only
I guess.
6 reviews at the moment of recording this video gave
Everyone
a 7.
should just not should just ignore it.
And others
Maybe talk about it for a little while, and then once everyone knows what the game is.
impressions that we're seeing in the higher scored reviews, which makes a lot of sense, as though Ziff Davis owns the wide majority of
Eventually,
companies,
they will learn
subsidiaries, all of them echoing the
that
message. From my perspective, this
your money is more important than their ideology.
to manipulate customers into buying something that they would otherwise have avoided. Reviews are sacred. They act as a beacon of honesty and insight in a world
I guess maybe that's why they're pushing for socialism.
guiding players through a
They
lack.
want to abolish capitalism.
When reviews are influenced or manipulated, it doesn't just
And the funny thing is, those who are pushing to abolish capitalism are those with a lot of money.
now is a world in which
So
CEOs
insane.
who spend millions of dollars a year on gambling addiction and social manipulation research are now influencing the one safe haven that customers have to be able to choose to spend their money wisely. All because these companies feel that they are entitled to our money. You know, I realize that there's going to be some people that are in the comments or reposting this video or
Yeah, just
r/circle jerk or something.
don't give them your money. Don't spend.
It wasn't done on purpose. And the
Even if you think, even if they release a game you want to play, they have this history. Look at what I watched a video about
if your game
Deadpool.
because
Deadpool made a lot of money, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but in that video it was mentioned that the money they made from Deadpool, they distributed it to all the woke projects.
forgetting to send out a couple codes instead
There you go.
in a studio.
That is going to be an MO if it becomes popular. It's gonna be their MO. They will release a game that will make money.
I look at
And then the money made from that game, they will use the money to fund more shitty games.
are eating good right now.
And then, of course, those shitty games will not make money, obviously.
Ideologically,
Who wants to play
their heads off. You
a
got
shitty game? No one wants to play a shitty game. So they will release or make an effort to make a game for everyone that will make money. And then once that make money, they will use the money from that game to fund more and more shitty games. That is going to be the MO.
being a victim of access.
I'm telling you.
They're too busy bickering
I can see it already.
political position.
Because again, that is if the report in that video
You know, I saw a couple people
is true that Disney used the money they made from Deadpool to, instead of making
then
movies that
likes the game.
aligns with what Deadpool did, targeting or making games for making superhero movies, Marvel movies for everyone. No, they did not do that. They used the money to,
There's nothing up until this point.
make more
This game was going to be a game
ideological based
be this absolutely
movies and I guess TV series.
completely wrong about it being bad. That never looked that way. It never has. And that's why it makes it so hard to believe that it could be anything else than what I think it is. And even more so are we to say that SkillUp wrote a fake review, that he lied about his impressions of the game and how it very accurately depicts exactly what a lot of people believe this game was going to be. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I think all of this is going to come to light as more reviews come forth. The most positive reviewers got access to the game before anybody else, and those with anything critical to say will come afterwards. While there is already some variance in review scores, if you actually go and look, the game is an 82 on Metacritic with 77% of people recommending it. What's really odd about this is that even those middle-of-the-road review scores, those mid to high sevens, are still using the exact same language, and it just doesn't feel authentic. The criticisms are the exact same.
Of course, it's not authentic.
Feels like this is actually a 10 out of 10 review.
How did they come up with the same key praise? It's like they slept, and then one morning they woke up, and wait, I have this key praise embedded in my head. I return to form. Everyone got the same experience, and so when they wrote their review, they added the key praise, a return to form.
People asking me about
It's absurd.
that Veilguard reviews are out, and October 31st is close. Both are from the studio, but Mass Effect is Mass Effect. How you bring a sci-fi RPG to life is different than other genres.
Okay, come on, my fellow gamers, please learn.
You guys did with Dragon Age.
Learn. Even if that is good, don't give them your money.
Realistic,
Because if that game is good, it becomes a success, they make money from it, guess what? They will use the money they made from it to make more Dragon Age the Veilguard, more Dustborn, more. So instead of giving them your money,
represented by this,
there are a lot of game developers out there making games that are specifically for you, for me, and for you.
And the Marvel movie aesthetic just turned me off entirely. The game bored me just by watching it. And the dialogue between characters lacked any of that human quality or nuance that I've seen in other previous entries, or in Baldur's Gate 3, which definitely has shaped my opinion on these type of games. When I looked at this game, it overall just looked like a generic offering that was going to give me nothing but quips, zero nuance, and garbage gameplay. Something that I have come to expect from EA, and I think a lot of other people have too. When people in my audience wanted to criticize the game and write it off because of the identity or beliefs of the game's director, Corinne Bush, I pushed back on my own audience, saying that you can only judge people based on their previous works. For me, seeing Corinne had only worked on the Sims games before Dragon Age, I could see that influence and lack of audience perspective throughout all of Dragon Age the Veilguard. The art style, the tonal shift, the way that characters interact with each other, and the fact that BioWare believed that this is going to be the darkest story in the franchise. It all makes sense when you look at the project history of its director. This is not a strike against who someone is, it's by the merit of the work that they have done. And that's how games should be judged. As I've always said, do not follow franchises, studios, or publishers. Follow directors that have proven that they can lead and deliver projects and games that you enjoy. So what do I think happened here, and ultimately what is going to be the outcome? I think that EA and BioWare...
That is not true. Okay, that is not true. Just look at Bethesda Game Studios. It's still headed by Todd Howard. And Starfield is a mess.
In an act to try to regain some trust,
it's a mess. Starfield's a mess.
Getting rid of that would bring in some players, and it's a real quick, easy PR.
It's the same studio headed by the same guy who gave us Oblivion. The same guy who gave us...
That's who they gave the game.
Fallout 3.
Stupid.
The same guy who gave us Morrowind. The same guy who gave us my favorite role-playing game, Skyrim.
More or less, they're just an echo chamber.
So,
give anything less than a...
this is not true what he's saying, to follow the director or the personality or the people. It's not true, because in the end...
Eerily too much positivity.
In the end, it is the executives that make
between players,
the decisions.
And the media's perception of the game. It's going to be entirely different. Review scores are going to be all over the place.
It's the executives. It's the CEOs, the people in the higher ups.
In my eyes, I realize it's a popular term people have used for Dragon Age games over the years, but in this case, it really does feel that way. And I hate seeing stuff like this happen, because this is a direct attack on your wallet. This is something that everybody should be able to band together, talk about, and say, hey, we don't want this happening. Why didn't you give everybody review codes? You should be able to put...
Just don't give them your money.
Your social ideology.
Simple. It's not rocket science.
To protect yourself as a consumer, because that's...
It's not the same as landing a super heavy booster on
this channel more than anything.
on a couple of chopsticks.
We're protected as consumers because I've said it in other videos. I think that this is the last...
That involves a higher level of mathematics.
Ourselves in. And
this is quite simple. Oh,
it sucks.
It's a game for the LGBTQ plus community.
I do really...
I'm not going to buy it.
It's kind of impossible for them not to have.
It's simple.
Too obvious.
How is it so hard? It's so simple.
And I'm hoping this opens the eyes of a lot of people and they come to realize that professional media,
open your eyes,
legacy media more than anything else,
you'll see
be trusted. Review scores,
they're lying motions.
Creators, to be honest with you, even if I review a game, you shouldn't be just trusting whatever I say. If I like it, that doesn't mean that you're gonna like it. Maybe I'm paid. I'm kidding. I wouldn't want to do that because it's just...
Of course you are.
I'm too scared of doing illegal things. But yeah, you need to wait for other players to play it. It's like I always said, wait for Steam reviews. Steam reviews.
Go to MK Fire and Ice because he uploads just gameplay.
Players are reviewing it.
See the game there.
Get a pretty damn good.
That's the reason why I've never played the story mode or the single player mode of GTA 5. I've seen it like
some crazy
3 times already.
Made the player base mad. It's probably not.
I did buy GTA 5, but not for the single player game, but more for the online mode.
Not good, not great. Just
I have like zero interest. It's like when I watched the gameplay, the entire game, it was like hours and hours on.
Franchise.
After watching it, it felt like I already played the game.
Forgotten within a month or so. Or something like that.
That is the one drawback of watching gameplay.
That didn't happen.
Especially if it's a story-based game.
Got some value out
Once you have gone to the story, you feel like you already played it as well.
Outside of that, my friends, I am starving. I'm gonna get some food in me. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Follow me on Twitch if you guys want to see me.
Hey everyone, it's Endymion today.
Blew off my hand. If you guys want to catch me live on Twitch, you guys can see my cat more there.
Okay, so my mouse is doing the double clicking thing again. It just means that it needs to be replaced. I have like a $10 mouse. I can't afford expensive mouse. Okay, so what I usually do is I would just shake it a few times. Hold on. Okay, going to give the video a like so that I would know that I've already watched it. Let's see here, what else? Ooh, look at that, we have Charlie Chaplin here. It's not gaming because I'm not in the gaming section. Okay, here we have Dragon Age the Veilguard. Okay, let's see what's under this label or tag. Okay, BioWare panics, and then BioWare takes a massive L. These are all new ones. This was like a day ago. And this is 3 hours. Ooh, this is a gameplay from Heels versus Babyface. The legend that came out from the Starfield mess a year ago. The rant was like epic, and then someone added music to it, and it made the rant even more epic. It's the one thing that came out from Starfield that was actually entertaining. Anyway, let's go and watch Endymion here.
Hey everyone, it's Endymion. Today I have a video that's a hybrid between some stuff going on with Dragon Age, as well as a new development confirming that the Sweet Baby discourse is now reaching new highs and that this fight is far from over. Beyond this, we have writers turning on BioWare and people proving time and again that they don't support the things that they champion. So, let's begin. Firstly, Dragon Age Veilguard is here. I'm now 16 hours into it, and according to what I've been told, I'm about halfway through the story. Which is, well, that's not good if that's the case. I recently got to the first major decision of the game, and I kid you not, this decision results in you either fighting a blue or a red dragon. And the entire big decision mission is just 10 minutes of gameplay. I'm not kidding. When the mission ended, I yelled, "That's it?" and I jump scared my girlfriend who was watching a Let's Play beside me. And my bad for yelling, but you gotta be kidding me, man. This game is more disappointing than my son. Anyways, there's more to go over. Firstly, some places are already turning against Veilguard, like PC Gamer of all places, which usually supports and champions these very things oftentimes. In their article that's titled, "With the Veilguard, Dragon Age has forgotten its dark fantasy roots and become BioWare's Avenger."
What is wrong with PC Gamer? Why are they complaining? It's a game for the LGBTQ plus community.
Played it. It really is as if Crystal
Steam knows what the game is,
made with a dragon
or who
over top of it.
it was made for.
Nobody takes anything seriously, and the identity politics are on full display. As I explained in my previous video, the game is littered with coded language and behavior that paints a picture that this game is designed
Come on, Endymion!
to hate white males specifically without overtly
Of
saying.
course they will hate straight white male.
I just got
It's an LGBTQ plus game for the LGBTQ plus gamers.
a woman.
It's obviously not for you. The fact that you're playing this and making videos complaining it, I'm not saying that you can't. It's just kind of absurd, actually.
At least, and after playing Veilguard for 16 hours so far, my brain just kind of yearns for some.
Again, anyone can play any games, but if you're going to complain that it's
had a grand
woke or it's for the modern audience or if it's for the LGBTQ plus community, well,
and my
it's
brain
kind of absurd, especially now that
people who clearly
it's properly labeled and tagged as an LGBTQ plus game in Steam, unless of course they removed it. But I checked yesterday and it was still there.
he was contacted by someone very prominent at BioWare on the issues within the game and the studio at large. I didn't say
And going to repeat myself, there's nothing wrong in making games for the LGBTQ plus community because there are gamers.
the source told him that
There are also gamers in that community.
now they are genuinely not hiring anyone.
The problem comes when it's marketed for everyone, which is obviously not.
To identify as a straight man, you're immediately thrown aside in favor of someone who identifies as anything but that. It's gotten to a point within BioWare.
What do you expect?
No longer interested in hiring
Come on, Endymion. What?
your ideology 100% behind the scenes. It's
What do you expect?
really sad to see, but to be real with you, especially when
Sometimes sometimes I'm just lost for words.
being overlooked.
I want to say something that's in my head, but I couldn't find the words to use to say them. Again, not a native English speaker. I'm sorry to everyone watching.
Blow it all down at this point. The game is doing fine.
You'll notice that my language is
27,000
sometimes
as of the making of this video. But we need to remember
has the same tone, has the same theme. I'm using the same basic
within the art
English words. Again, English is not my native language.
I mean, look at these numbers.
I do understand it,
We reached over 800
but there are words that,
on Steam alone.
well, they're in my head. It's just that
Achieved in a similar time
I
frame.
have a hard time recalling them.
That peaked at
It's just how my brain works.
we need to realize that
And of course, when you're not a native language speaker or a native speaker of a certain language, this is how it happens.
to realize and
So, for example,
need to sell in
when I want to say something, I would, construct it in my own language, and then in my head, I'm translating it into English and then saying it in English.
maybe justify
And here's the thing: sometimes I would construct it or translate it properly in my head, and then when I'm about to say it,
shuddered to
something happens, and
effect comes
certain words just
PC Gamer article said Veilguard
disappears.
Avengers, except nobody wants that style of humor or
It's so weird.
It's a game that has completely shed its dark fantasy roots for purple menu screens and overtly colorful.
And I would get stuck with an unfinished sentence.
BioWare started working on Dragon Age the Veilguard, the world was in love with Marvel. We wanted more Avengers, more Bants, more Nick Fury recruiting superpowered heroes. This must have felt serendipitous to a studio which had for years been designing RPGs where players put together a wisecracking, good-looking squad to stop the world.
I think for LGBTQ plus games, game reviewers should.
A heroic team of power.
This is just a suggestion, okay, and an opinion.
Between bouts of exposition and
They should just let LGBTQ plus gamers review the game.
the Marvel formula,
Because I'm pretty sure a non-LGBTQ plus
which I'm now around
game reviewer won't be able to give it justice.
luxury and
The review will just be filled with complaints.
Marvel's huge influence on
That is what I think.
While the series began as an exceptionally grim fantasy adventure in a grounded medieval world,
And as you can see, many gamers are not
Dragon Age
members of the LGBTQ plus. Maybe, maybe,
more focused setting.
maybe a century from now,
Much of a high fantasy
when the indoctrination
takes and magical spectrum
has affected more
Dragon Age game, a different
of the population.
characters who pushed and questioned you. Set in a world that, for all its vibrant colors,
That's why I think they're doing the indoctrination wrong. They shouldn't use high fantasy role-playing games
where you play
as their tool to indoctrinate
Inquisitor, there's always a sense that
you know,
become that tyrant yourself in the Veil.
gamers or new people to their beliefs.
The Veilguard sheds
They should use Call of Duty.
in darkness, fully
I'm going to push for that.
broad high
If you are an LGBTQ plus member,
and more. It's even got that.
maybe you could, you know, if you have some, if you have some kind of influence,
show off an
you should suggest that
set piece
instead of using high fantasy role-playing games,
accidentally attempts to
you should suggest that
when you
they should
explore a blight
use Call of Duty instead. Games like Call of Duty and
gratuitous
Fortnite.
tentacles is so
Especially Fortnite, it has a lot of kids.
feel the revulsion that the story wants you to experience. The blight is ultimately left to just become a momentary
There you go.
blocking
I'm giving you guys
connected nodes. It's just a mechanic.
suggestions that will not lead to a lot of backlash.
The Veilguard even takes Marvel's sci-fi tale
Because I do agree that LGBTQ plus gamers
swans around
should have games made for them.
that splices magic and tech, is a talented engineer.
I'm not going to play them.
Part of a
Of
mostly
course, I'm not
organization
part
with
of the LGBTQ plus community.
technology.
But I'm also not against. I'm not going to stop game publishers to make
Previous games
or I won't.
push to the
I'm not against game publishers, game developers making games for them as well because they also need to play games.
magical scientists. Each can
But the problem is they're using,
okay, maybe I'm being unfair
they're
here.
targeting and using the wrong genre of games.
Liara, the naive scientist, Isabella, the horny pirate, Morrigan, the abrasive witch, but the problem
The same with, I guess, with movies and television series, they're using high fantasy
is gods to its
genres
faction
like
representatives,
Lord of the Rings, because the fans of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, they're intelligent people.
the outset. Lucanus is literally an abomination, something that you might expect him to want to keep secret.
And then fans of the superhero genre, they may not be as intelligent as those
Bit of
who
tension.
are fans, but they kind of cross over.
Lara, meanwhile, spends maybe 10 seconds pretending
They
that
kind of cross over.
to talk about.
I think they should target
An entire monologue about her tragic
what kind of genre can they target. Maybe reality TV. Yeah, there you go.
already going
Reality TV.
You're always being nudged towards heroism, but the Veilguard completely ties your hands for
That is, in my opinion, a good genre to target.
due to the other RPGs that
Push their
Pillars of
religion and belief.
Rogue Trader,
beliefs.
Elysium, Divinity Original Sin, Baldur's Gate 3, The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk,
It will not work. It will not work for high fantasy genres,
and Quelt. That last
even sci-fi.
I agree with this. It's a game that markets itself as being pro-player choice, but never really gives you any options to present yourself in an evil manner. At least in Mass Effect, you're able to be a renegade and basically be Space Punisher as you abuse, destroy, and blow up the galaxy to get your results. But here in Veilguard, it's not possible, and it's so laughably out of date when compared to games that are years old at this point. Some may say they're not fair comparisons, but they are. BioWare was the king of player choice games. Now they're more interested in giving you a baby's first RPG when their competition has ran past them with flying colors in the past. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 completely destroys Dragon Age Veilguard in every single way that there's no contest there to be had. Objectively speaking, Veilguard has less choice in its entirety so far that I have played than Baldur's Gate 3's world has had in the first 5 hours of that game that you play. I believe that players are smart enough that developers need to stop holding players' hands so tightly because we are sick of being coddled, and it's even worse when the puzzles in Veilguard are so simple, but the characters still go out of their way to explain the solutions before you've even had a chance to think about said solution because you just got there. This oversimplification...
Again, because the reason is,
another big problem.
it's a game not for you. It was never made for you. It
Characters
was never made for me.
always telling you how to do things. There's never any show, only tell when it comes to games like this. They're not interested in allowing you to express yourself, because these devs simply don't think that you're smart enough to do anything on your own. Going from Baldur's Gate 3 to Veilguard is probably one of the biggest tonal shifts I've seen in gaming, because what BG3 was in conception, story, and tone was actually what people wanted from Dragon Age. A dark fantasy world that can be lit up with brevity, but the player must remain steadfast that regardless of the funny moments within it, that it's still a world that will kill you if you aren't careful enough. And you never feel like this in Veilguard. Death has no meaning, there's checkpoints everywhere, big green urns that drop potions to heal you like you're playing a platformer from the 90s. The game is, like PC Gamer put it, Dragon Age only in name, and the more I play it, the more sad I get doing it. And then, for example, you have this article from SciPost.com titled "New Research on Female Video Game Characters Uncovers a Surprising Twist." To save us both the time, I'm not going to read an entire article to you, but to paraphrase it, researchers set up the game Soul Calibur 6, and then they made custom characters ranging from very sexy and strong to more modern audience ugly female characters, if you will. They then got a bunch of women ages between 18 to 51 to play these games and be exposed to videos featuring these female characters in different cutscenes and so on. At the end of the study, it was found that the women surveyed overwhelmingly preferred playing as the sexualized, often strong depicted female characters over the uglier ones. The study concluded that despite women saying they
Come on! It's just common sense. Why would you play an ugly character?
over the more prudish, ugly, and less feminine depictions of
Because it's escapism.
didn't read
Okay, you don't want to play as yourself.
women over the slop that
No one does.
these days.
All insane people do it.
Does away with curves and instead gives you plenty of female.
Do you think I look like my on-screen avatar? Do you think I have
But in BioWare,
yellow hair?
I truly believe that Veilguard
Do you think I have like
female representation that people
light skin? Do you think I have like gray eyes?
watch.
Of course not.
We're fine. Just trading fashion tips. So what I wear is a problem for you?
It's not. It's just... Why dress like that? Are you trying to make your mother happy?
Tosh, what's going on? Something is clearly bothering you.
My bet's on mothers and dresses.
It's just something my mother said the other day. And I act more like a man than a woman.
And you feel like you should wear dresses to make her happy.
No. Can you imagine me in a dress? I'd look stupider than I'd look...
Why are they talking about dresses? Is it really important to the plot of the story?
This
Is it pushing the story forward?
No, it's...
Again, I just noticed it.
Stuff like that. About how I dress.
I guess that's how the LGBTQ plus gamers like it. So I can't complain. It's not a game for me.
Like a man. It feels... right. Why does it...
It's just interesting though that they care. I guess they care a lot about dresses.
Ah.
This is stupid. Forget I said anything.
Hey, it's not stupid. I do like being a woman, but if you don't, maybe that's something to think about.
But what does it mean?
Could be about your mother's expectations, or about how it feels to be a woman and...
It doesn't matter. These people are so insane. It doesn't matter what you are.
How would knowing that help?
If you think you are a dog, it doesn't matter.
Friends him and Rathas talk about
Just don't go around biting people.
man as a woman. I could see if they'd like to talk. Maybe what they say fits how you're feeling.
Yeah. Okay. And thanks. You do look really pretty.
Also, just keep kids
To look at. I'd smudge.
away from it.
Thanks for letting me down gently.
Well, isn't that some amazing modern dialogue in your fantasy world? Hey, unreal, man, that this got past QA testing. You've seen likely videos showing how even if you maximize the bust size in Veilguard, the women you can make have even smaller boobs than the average man does. It's all done deliberately to pander these character creators to the trans crowd. There is no point in denying it at this point. Because if a character is too feminine or too masculine,
Pander to the trans crowd. Again, LGBTQ plus game for the LGBTQ plus community. It's not for you. You don't have to play it.
everybody leaves unsatisfied. The men aren't jacked or manly enough, the women look like male.
Maybe, who knows, in the future, the developer will go back to making games for us.
Oregon and Veilguard, who also on
For us, the general gaming audience.
between games too, it seems. I'm tired, dear viewer. I'm tired of political.
The thing that I like about not
People are babies and want to be catered to. What's also just stupid is that
playing games on release and
do well to
having
so to speak.
not having a PC to run this game is that
Suicide Squad, hell, Concord is dead, and that studio has.
I can filter the games that I won't buy in the future. For example, this the Veilguard game, obviously.
wallets and click.
I've already ignored it in Steam. It will never appear
Works in the industry.
on my discovery ever.
How is Dragon Age on PC? I want to try it, but I need a code. This tweet is more frustrating to read than anything else, because why are you such a stalwart defender of agenda, yet you openly admit that you didn't even buy Veilguard either?
Because it's stupid. They don't.
Play it.
Come on. I keep repeating this. They don't play games.
He said this in
They
response.
spend the time, complaining in
Optimized looks fantastic.
social media. That is their entertainment.
Playing it too. What are your thoughts? I know you've been making a ton of content around it, so it's possible that Khalif got his code. But again, this is what I'm saying. I don't mind if Khalif supports Dragon Age or any other game. That's his right as a consumer to do so. But come on, man, let's be real here. You can't be saying things in the industry are bad or that the games you want to succeed aren't succeeding if you're not willing to ever buy any of these games yourself. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe because despite doing YouTube and all of this, I still support games and I buy them with my own money. I don't even pirate movies or TV ever. Like, genuinely, I don't.
When it comes to pirating games that you have to download and install,
Don't like it's voted into power.
I would suggest against it.
More time to go
Back in the day, I would pirate games, but
complain about the outcome of my opinion
most, if not all, of these games that are getting released
for this game or that.
for download for free,
Never supporting these things to begin with. Maybe
they
support the things that you love.
they always come with
Begging for free code
an extra,
doesn't help
a
your
Trojan.
either way. I should also probably dispel some other
There's always a Trojan.
added too. So first,
Yeah, sure, you can scan them
circling on Twitter, we're
and it won't get detected.
200,000
It won't detect anything, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
very disingenuous. That number is refund request for Steam as a platform. So we're talking all games available on Steam
It's just that your AV,
right now of 200,000 plus.
your AV doesn't know how to detect them.
6 or any other game being lumped into that sum.
Your AV will detect them once they are in your RAM or memory,
Refunded akin to 3 or 4.
when they are already running. But since they are Trojans,
If it was,
they have like,
secondly, I saw
I guess, a schedule when they go active.
people, of course, use this as ammo to say, look, it's
So I wouldn't suggest it. What I would suggest is just wait for a sale in GOG. I would recommend GOG now because
Anthem
I'm not a fan of what Steam
was the same way too.
released a statement saying that we only have licensed games and we don't really own them.
So not really the same.
I'm not sure about GOG, but at least in GOG you can download a backup of the game. So if you have extra media
Come out
or storage media,
Previous video, Inquisition on Steam is not a fair.
You can download the game and have them
Came out in 2014, but didn't hit Steam until 20.
store or stored somewhere.
It's not a fair comparison to day one hype releases.
I'm not sure if you can do that in Steam though.
I said I'm being fair here, and I want to properly archive all of this on the channel.
So just wait for a sale. Usually,
Rampant.
that's how I got most of the AAA games that I own. I've never
Roundhouse
bought
came in the
a
net.
AAA game
Facts on my.
on release. Usually wait for a huge sale.
God damn it! I mean, Dragon Age.
Yeah, sure, it might take a few years, but it doesn't
Anyway,
matter.
before we move on from
It doesn't matter.
video, let's just subject you guys to some more mental anguish, shall we? So please watch this too.
Unless you're a game, that is your job. Unless you're a game reviewer, then it doesn't really matter whether you play the game now or 10 years ago. Oh, this is great. Okay, this is great.
I don't feel like a man or
It made it turning the game into a sitcom, the dialogue into a sitcom made the game a lot better.
I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
Because I have criticized your dress or your manners.
It isn't.
Under the Q, the term for one whose gender does not match the one given to them at birth was a cuniflock. Perhaps you are like that.
Why do you
Sex is not assigned.
happy for me?
Evitash, chakra to ebra.
Well, I guess you can say it was assigned by Mother Nature.
Even if I feel wrong?
No, you misunderstood.
The sex you have wasn't assigned.
I will go. Thank you for inviting me.
It was given by nature. It is who you are or what you are.
Finish this video up. So we all don't like the stinky baby. Not only because they smell bad, but because they tend to ruin everything they touch. Kind of like French people. That's a joke.
It's like saying that
Anyway, Sweet Baby is teaming up with another company to spread their nasty
a
across the
chicken
net. This is from
or a chick, when it was born, was assigned
Woke Jen.
the label chick.
Over at his Gothic
No,
Therapy.
it's not.
Expose this in their latest video.
It's what it is.
In the description if you want to watch it if you'd like to. Anyway, the gist here is that Sweet Baby is teaming up with the Powell Group, no, not that Powell, to bring sensitivity training and pandering nonsense to every facet of development going forward. The Powell Group said in a statement via LinkedIn, "We believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Together with our partners at Sweet Baby Inc., we provide sensitivity and authenticity consulting at every stage of development. We connect you to an inclusive and knowledgeable team of consultants to best bring your story to life."
Honestly, I have no problem with this as long as they inform the consumers.
Representation is key.
Because that way the consumers, we as consumers can decide whether to buy their products or not.
It's an authenticity at the heart of our work.
It's all about properly informing the consumers.
Human experiences and foster empathy within your game.
Obviously,
Experts, thanks.
games with ideas or ideologies like this
Forward. And they have no desire to back down from
are
delivering.
not for me. So I'm going to avoid consuming or buying games or products with
And making all the characters.
ideas like
It's
that.
incredible that this company would openly support it.
Again, it's all about
Because being so brazen like the Power
communication
is not going to end very well.
and information.
You're just making
You don't
which game
you don't hide information and you communicate
well for them.
properly.
They want to bring it to people's attentions that despite all the backlash and failure tied to SBI this year alone, that instead of rethinking that just maybe people don't want this in games, they're instead doubling or even tripling down in this case to tell everyone who rejects them that they're going nowhere. So good luck to you, SBI, but none of this is going to work for you. I hope you know that. But that's what I got for you today. Hopefully this is a shorter video than my previous one, because my previous video, that was a nightmare to edit. But let me know what you think as always. Do you think Sweet Baby's agenda being pushed like this will work in their favor or not? Do you want more current day in games, or do these things
Again, they can do whatever they want. You know, they can add current day politics or events in games. It doesn't matter as long as it's properly communicated. Just like, hey, this is an LGBTQ plus game. Oh, well, okay. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not an LGBTQ plus person. So, and then of course, an LGBTQ plus person will see the game. Oh, it's a game made for me. I'm not going to buy it as well, says the LGBT plus person, because they don't like playing games. Just kidding. Yeah, okay, so proper labeling and proper communication and proper information dissemination. So they can do whatever they want. They can make games like that, games like this. They can target this particular group of people, this particular group of people. You can make games for terrorists, and it's fine. Of course, non-terrorists and those who don't like terrorism won't buy them. Anyway, guys, just my examples are like, what kind of examples are those? My goodness. Anyway, guys, going to end the stream here. That was Endymion. Again, it's all about Dragon Age, the Veilguard. It's an LGBTQ plus game. So there you go. Everyone in the LGBTQ plus community, come on. Come on, I'm rooting for you. Support the game that was made for you. I'm pretty sure there are millions of you out there. Okay. And I'm looking at Steam. It only picked at what, 70, 80K? Come on, what are you guys doing? That is not how you support a product that you that was made for you. You're going to make the studio lose money, and if the studio lose money, they'll start with firing people. They will do mass layoffs, and those people that gave you the your LGBTQ plus game will lose their jobs, and eventually the studio will get shut down. It's not good. It's not good. How much is the game? I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the West can afford a $40 to $60 game, and I'm pretty sure there's a there's a lot of successful LGBTQ plus people out there. Even if you don't want to play it, just go buy it. Show your support. One way of showing your support is by actually purchasing the product that was made for you. And of course, those people who are not the target audience, there you go. Now you know, you can just avoid it and give your money to another game that was made for you. So guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, not subscribe, but follow the channel in Rumble. If you're watching in YouTube, if you happen to find the video in YouTube or the stream in YouTube, I suggest that you go to Rumble. But if you still want to subscribe to YouTube, please do. Also in Twitch, follow in Twitch and in Kick. Well, it's surprising that I am able to do a stream in Kick. Usually, I would get a problem streaming in Kick, but not now, and not in the what is this, yesterday or a day ago. So again, guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye for now.